everybody, it's Michelle, and today I've got for you a full body intermediate level Mat Pilates workout. So you don't need any additional equipment, just you and your mat. So let's get started. We're going to warm up on our mat on all fours. So come on down, get your hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips, and really spread your fingertips out wide so you have this nice big base of support. And then from your spine being nice and neutral, let's do a couple little scapula isolations. So taking those shoulder blade bones in towards each other and then spreading them apart. Yes, and try to keep your spine and your ribs and everything else pretty still and just allow that kind of squeezing and then widening of those scapula. Okay, and sometimes this can be a little bit kind of funny to feel at first, so just keep with it. So think of trying to like squeeze the juice out of a lemon between your shoulder blades and then let it go. Yeah, do that a couple more times. So these muscles here that are moving the shoulder blades are really key in helping us be supported in this all fours position. So it's a good way to kind of find them. All right, now end up kind of neutral, so halfway between the pinching and the widening sensation. And then let's do some cat and cow stretches in 4 counts. So I want you to breathe out and extend your spine, look up towards the ceiling, and then we're just going to hold here as we inhale. Now exhale, push the floor away and round your back. Just like before, hold as you inhale. And then we'll do that again. So every time you breathe out, we're moving to a new position. Every time we breathe in, we're holding the one that we're in. Good, couple more times. So it's good to just kind of slow ourselves down. Take some intentional pauses. Yes. Do this a couple more times. So as you take your inhale in that held position, try not to release the abdominals. Yes, do that a few more times. Inhale and hold it. And then exhale to change. So good. Let's do that one more time in either position. Very good. Now let's hold our rounded back this time, and we're going to do kind of a circular cat stretch, which sounds a little funny, but take your head and your tail, and those 2 points are going to draw the same kind of circle. So let's go clockwise with our tail and our upper spine. And again, this one might feel a little bit funny until we kind of get it in our bodies. So both the top and the bottom of your spine are drawing their own circle, going the same direction. Okay, and if you're having trouble and it's not feeling right, just roll through your spine, however feels good to you. So we're passing through the extension and the flexion that we found before with the addition of some little side bends going on too. So it feels really good through the entire spine. All right, now let's reverse it and go counterclockwise. So our hips, our head, and our back all going in that counterclockwise direction. Very good. So feel that nice little active stretch through the abdominals and then that stretch through the spine. Very good. All right, let's do one more circle here. All right, now find your neutral, so long spine, push the floor away. Take your left leg back and prop your toes up on the mat behind you, and then just take some little rocks of your ankle. Yeah, so as you lean back, get a little calf stretch. As you push forward, get a little wrist stretch. Good. If this is uncomfortable on your hands, you can move them out a little further in front of you. Yeah, so as we're rocking, try to leave your hips nice and level. Feel the abs supporting you here, so we're not relaxing through the spine. Adding on to this, we're going to reach our opposite arm, which for us would be the right since our left foot is back, and we're going to keep going with those ankle rocks without the support of that opposite arm. Now, if you're having trouble, step your supporting hand a little further to the side, and that'll make this easier, or just replace your hand back to the mat. Yes, you'll feel your abs working a lot more to make up for this arm being gone. All right, now without losing our ab connection, we're going to take this arm, circle it back when our heel stretches, look up towards the ceiling, and then reach back out as we push off of our toes. So we complete a whole arm circle with one ankle movement. Yeah, so you might be slowing down a little bit from the speed we were at a moment ago. Good. So see if you can find a twist and a reach and a stretch without feeling like you collapse your back or stick your booty out. Yeah? Let's do that 2 more times. Now I'm circling my arm down and back. You can do that same direction or whichever way feels natural to you. Whew. All right, now pause with the arm reaching front. Tap your fingers to the floor, and almost like a teeter-totter, your back foot is going to lift in opposition, and then we replace. So we tap the fingers, lift the toes, and up. Good. Keep the long, nice lifted spine. Push and switch. Let's do that 3 more times. Kind of different coordination than we're typically used to here, too. Good. Now set your hand fully on the mat, a little bit staggered in front of the other. So my right hand is further forward. Now I'm going to bend my elbows like a teeter-totter push-up. My back leg is going to lift, my right elbow touches the mat, and then I press back up tall. My elbows bend and my leg lifts, and then we push, tap, and lift. Yes, so that forward hand, that elbow has the potential to touch the floor. It might not. Just go with what feels good to you. But the left elbow is just doing kind of a narrow tricep push-up. Yes, the leg has to lift as the elbows bend. Let's do 2 more. Feel the ribs drawing up and in. Now drop the elbow and stay down, and we're going to take some little rainbow taps with our back leg. And you can look up at the ceiling if that feels good to you, or keep your gaze down at the floor. Good, and just see how big of a range you can get from this hip socket. Yes, so really feel those abs kind of drawing in and around the spine to support so the movement can come from the leg. So good, you guys. Push into the floor with the hands. 3, 2, 1, and then go ahead and set that knee down. Come up off your elbows and just sit back into a little shell stretch. Good. All right, well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling warm, so that didn't take very long. All right, let's do all of that on the opposite side. So if we can remember, that was a long set. So now come back to your hands, and it'll be our right foot that goes behind. The wider you take your leg, the easier it is to keep your balance here, all right? So kind of plan accordingly. And then start your ankle rocks. Here, yes, and feel active all the way up the chain of that leg. So it's not just our calf working, but you want to feel connected all the way up into that hip and the glute on that back side. All right, now next layer, if you're feeling ready for it, is to lift the opposite arm and see if you can keep that rock going. Now you might have to slow down a little bit. You might have to widen your base of support by moving your knee or your hand out to the side. Whew. All right, now slow your pace down a little bit, and let's make this a little stretchier. So you're going to sweep the arm down and around as the heel stretches back, and then return as we push off the foot. 1, and then 2. So feel that rotation through the spine. Yes, and your pelvis will rotate a little bit. Just make sure we don't totally let go of the lower abdominals. So good. For me, I feel a way bigger calf stretch because we're kind of shifting the weight more with that rock. Let's do that 1 more time. All right, now square everything off, hips and shoulders level. As I drop my fingertips, my back leg is going to lift, and then we switch. So the leg goes up as the arm goes down. Tip and lift. So feel that opposition with the arm and leg. 3. Last 2. Now last one, set the hand fully down in that staggered position. So my left hand is in front of my right. Now I tap the elbow as my back leg gets higher, and then we return. Tap and lean, and then lift. Yes, up and down. So there's this correlation with how much the elbows bend, with how much that back leg is lifting. Very good. Feel like you've got like a steel corset on, so nothing changes through the low back and belly. All right, you guys, let's do that 3 more times. Feel like you're pushing your mat away from you with your hands. 2. Now pause at the bottom, really put some weight into that elbow and start to draw rainbows with your back leg. So you go high through center and then tap across your mat as far as you can from side to side. So good. The bottom hip tries to stay stacked over the bottom knee. So it's really the top hip that's initiating this movement. Very good. So feeling all those muscles around the hip working, especially the outer thighs. Good. Take some big deep breaths for 3. For 2, push the floor away from you. Last 1. And then go ahead and set the knee down. Sit back to your feet. And then just kind of collect yourself with a couple breaths. Awesome job, you guys. All right. Okay, now that we're nice and warmed up, let's lay down on our back and get our abs going a little bit more. So get down to your back, have your feet flat, knees bent, about hip width apart, and then you can kind of rock your tail around so you land in your neutral. Okay, so slight gap under your spine. Arms down next to you. To get us moving here, just lift your legs alternating up to tabletop a few times. You can roll through the feet to make this smoother. And just practice when the legs lift, try not to let it affect the spine. Yes, so we shouldn't feel like we're tucking or tilting or changing this kind of low abdominal region as we lift the legs up. All right, okay, so now that we've kind of zeroed in on that, when we lift a leg up, you're going to take your opposite hand and give a little pressure between the hand and knee, and then set everything back on the mat. So you slow down as much as you need to feel like you get enough time to really connect and feel that, and then replace back down. Yes, and then remembering what we practice, that we don't change whatever nice back position we started in. And then lower. Yeah, a lot of times what we kind of naturally want to do is like cave down into the floor and smush, but the more you keep that natural curve, it's just going to feel a little bit more active through those abdominals, okay? All right, so now that we've gotten that feeling that how the more we apply pressure from both sides, the more we feel our abs working, right? All right, so now we're going to add a flexion of the upper back. So as I place the hand on the knee, my other hand sneaks behind my head and I curl up to get a little extra connection, and then I lay back down. And my hands are kind of switching and getting ready to curl and go to the other side and then lay back down. Curl and flex, and then lower down. So we get kind of this dual action. The low abs really get firing from the pressure of hand and knee, and then the upper abs really kind of get going from the flexion. Good. So we're getting that full circuit of the abs from top to bottom. Yes, you can of course dial it back to any of the prior versions we've done if what we move on to doesn't feel good to you. Good. Let's do this 3 more times. Last 2. Now on your last one, I want you to hold on whichever side you're on and just take some little micro crunches. So your upper body and your lower body pulse together and apart. Together and apart. Try to keep that pressurized feeling between hand and thigh. Ooh, not easy. 3. Chin is away from the chest. Last one. And now let's switch sides. We curl up, new side is lifted, and then we do our little mini pulses away from center and in. Reach and curl, both shoulder blades widening apart from each other, just like we found in the warm-up when we were gliding those shoulder blades apart. It's the same feeling. It just looks a little different. 2. Last one. Whew, and then come on down. Wow. Okay, very nice, you guys. Next, we're going to lift our legs both to tabletop, and we're still going to have opposite hand on opposite thigh. So kind of make like an X with your forearms, and then I like to kind of stagger them a little bit just so my arms aren't actually touching each other. And then we're going to place those opposite hands on opposite knees. All right? So hopefully your arms don't get tangled up on each other. So from here, let's keep our head down at first, and then we'll build up, okay? So find your neutral, find a little bit of pressure, nothing too crazy, like 20 or 30%, okay? We don't want to burn our abs out too much. Now, I want you to reach one arm and one leg away from each other, and then we come back. So it's opposite arm as leg. So the two limbs that are touching each other, they leave, and then they come back. Yes? Away, and then back in. So it's opposite arm as leg reaching apart from each other, and then they come back and reconnect. And don't worry too much about what arm is on top, what arm's underneath. Doesn't matter. You can switch it up if you like, or leave it in this same orientation. All right, now to add on a little challenge, when your limbs come back in, you're going to curl up and lift your head off the mat, push even harder into your thighs, lay down on the reach, curl on the return, lay down on the reach. Yes, and as we layer on challenge, it's always optional, just if that's working for you. If it's not, stick with where you're at, and you can build up to this next time. All right, let's do 2 more here. Now the next addition is to stay up and just continue with the arms and the legs and try to go a little faster. So it's okay if you don't end up with all 4 points touching, just switch from one side to the other. One side to the other, so good. 2, 1, now press onto all 4 points, lift a little higher, and then lay down on the mat. Whew. Wow, that got a little difficult there. Good. All right, last thing here, get back up into that same position. So my legs are side by side, my arms are crossed, connected to the opposite thigh. All right, we're gonna do a little double leg stretch. You can decide if you want your head down, lifting and lowering, or staying up, just like we practiced a minute ago, okay? I'm gonna curl up and stay up. You can do the same if you'd like. Now, I'm gonna stretch both my legs out, let my arms come by my sides, and then return and press. Yes, I go out and then in. And if you're feeling too tired and can't put very much pressure onto the hands, it's all good. At least just come in and touch. Ooh, you can lay down when your knees come in, lift when the legs go out. That's not a bad idea. If your neck's feeling tired, forward, crisscross the arms. Let's do 3 more. Reach. Find the pressure if you can. I know we're getting tired too. Last one. And then set everything on the mat. Awesome job, you guys. All right, next, let's give our abs a little break. Let's move on to some bridges and some kind of shoulder bridge preps. So take your feet back to that hip width apart place on the mat, arms by your sides, and let's just take a few hip rolls to get us moving. So let's exhale to roll our hips up, and then inhale to articulate our spine back down. Yeah, nice and easy. Exhale to scoop and lift. Feel the heels driving down and the hip bones driving up, and then roll through. And you take this as slowly as you need to feel the stretch on the front and the connection through the back. Okay, so we're kind of dialing in this position because we're going to start to add some layers here in a minute. All right. So feel like you're giving a little imaginary ball a little bit of a squeeze to prevent the knees from splaying out. All right, now pause at the bottom. Now instead of rolling, we're just gonna lift and then lower. So rather than trailing through our spine and articulating, we're just hinging from the hip and staying neutral. Up in one count, down in one count, and maybe speeding it up a little bit from what we did before. Good. Don't forget about the arms. I know the legs and the hips are kind of the flashy movers here, but the arms really are big helpers by driving into the ground. Good. Feel wide across your chest. Now, when your hips are lifted, can you arrive with one leg straight up and then replace to the mat? So by the time my hips are up, so is my leg, and then we come down. So kind of threading the foot up and lower, developing it up from a bent knee. Lift, and you just get the leg as straight as is comfortable for you. So good. Try not to leave one hip behind. Take them up as one unit. Lift and lower. Now this time, can you hold up and stay? Flex your ankle and drop your leg to the floor. Point it and lift. 2 more times. Flex. Now I say to the floor. It's not actually going to touch, but in the direction of the floor. Now pause at the top. Let's set our hip down. Whew. And go to the other side. So I kick and lift all at once. Flex the foot as you drop. Point to lift. 2 more times. 1 more. Pause, hips and foot down together. Very good. Couple more times. So use that force to get you up there all at once, and then maintain the position of the hips as the leg moves freely. And then we drop down. So good. A few more times. Lift, lower for 3, for 2. So good, you guys. 1. Let's do 1 more time on either side. Lift. Yes, now don't let those hips get uneven. Try to leave them side by side. Ribs connected to the floor. Last one. Drop and lift. 2. Last one. And then set the foot down. Okay, good. Hug your knees to your chest and give it a little stretch. All right. Okay, hopefully that was long enough for our abs to kind of recover. We're going to do some teaser preps now. We're going to be getting the upper body movement of teaser. Yes, with a little bit of support from the floor for our legs. So the arms are reaching back slightly off the ground, ribs are closed. Now I'm going to take a breath in, float my arms to point to the ceiling. Now exhale, nod your chin. If you need the help, grab your thighs and pull yourself up to sitting. Now at the top, reach your arms to the ceiling. Keep your arms by your ears as best you can as you roll down. And then when your head touches, we're back where we started. Let's do that again. Now, if you don't need the hands, that's great. You're just going to reach up on the diagonal. Now, don't come fully upright. Be just behind your sitting bones. Lift the arms by the ears and then roll through. Good. If your feet are kind of stopping you, reach them out a little bit further. Yeah, you want to feel like you have room to get up to sitting. Good. Reach the arms up and then curl down. So we're rolling through an imprint. Feel the low back touch the floor, then the upper back. Awesome, you guys. So at any time, use the grip of your hands to make this doable, or even just do halfway lifts. So it's okay if your low back doesn't come off of the floor. You could just practice the upper body work with the arm movement. Yes? Let's do this 1 more time. Good. Low back stays slightly rounded, upper back lifts, and then we roll to the mat. Whew. Very good. All right, next, one leg is going to lift to tabletop. This makes it a little easier if you need to grab your leg because the thigh is closer. All right, so I'll show once holding the leg and then continue without. So the arms are reaching. I lower them first, nod the chin. Now, if you need it, you're going to grab your thigh, kick into your hands until you get up to sitting. Now at the top, switch feet, and we're going to roll down with our new leg in tabletop. And then keep this same leg up to start again. So we roll with the same leg, pause at the top to switch, and then we roll down. Good. Now, if you're not needing the hands, it'll look more similar to what we did before. You'll tuck under, roll without touching the legs. When the arms lift, transfer to the new foot, and then we roll down, keep the same leg lifted to restart. Lead with the arms, press the low back into the floor like someone's grabbing those hands, lift, switch at the top, and then lower down. Good, doing that switch successfully. That takes a ton of hip flexion and lower abdominal strength, okay? So don't be afraid to use your hands if that helps you accomplish this today. Whew. All right, you guys, last one. We'll come down to the mat and take a little break. Whew. Very good. All right. Next, lift both legs to tabletop. Okay, same tricks apply of grabbing the legs if you need to. This one, you want to be sure we're not throwing the legs around, all right? They can move slightly. Arms go back, we lower, nod the chin. Grab the thighs if you need to. Use that leverage to pull you up. Find your balance at the top. And then no matter what, let's try to roll down without the use of the arms. That's pretty doable. And then if you need them, just use them on the way up. Good. Exhale to leave the floor. Ooh. Good. Now again, you're not going to get directly on your sitting bones. You stay tucked under just slightly. Ooh. All right, you guys, let's do this 2 more times. Nod the chin, curl off the floor, pause at the top, and then roll through. All right, on our next one, we're gonna stay up in balance and do a couple little balance challenges at the top. So find yourself upright, hold your legs if you need to. If not, the arms are long. Leave the thighs where they are and just straighten one knee and bend. Stretch and bend. Now that is so much work for those hip flexors, so support it with the hands if you need to. This is strengthening all those muscles that we need to make the lower body portion of our teaser happen. All right, you guys, let's do 2 legs now at the same time. Don't let your back fall backwards. Keep your spine the same. For 3, for 2, ooh, shaking. 1, now pause with your legs up, arms to the ceiling, and then roll down and just set your legs long on the floor. Whoa. So that, how we just finished, is the end of a traditional teaser. So way to go. You just did at least half a teaser, plus all that other hard stuff. Good. All right, put your feet down and drop your knees side to side. Amazing. All right. I think we need to try 1 or 2 full teasers just so we can see what this builds up to. And, you know, if you want to do one of our preps instead, go for it. But it's good to see what all these steps lead to, right? All right, so legs long. There's lots of ways to do a teaser, but let's do the version where our legs start and end on the floor, all right? So squeeze your ankles together, reach the arms back. Now it's everything we practiced with our upper body with the additional work of lifting the legs. So we reach the arms, we nod the chin, we hinge our straight legs up, raise the arms to the ceiling, and then roll through to the mat. So good, you guys. If you need to go back to tabletop so that you're able to get off the floor, it's all good. And then roll through. However you're getting yourself up to sitting, just do it and then try to come with me for how we roll back to the floor. Yes, the rolling down is much easier. So that's a perfect way to strengthen your muscles, to build up to the first half. All right, you guys, let's do 2 more times. We're gonna be teaser pros before the day is done. Whew. All right, you guys, last one. Nod the chin, curl, arms up, and then roll to the floor. Whew. All right, let's do some side sitting work next. So pick a side. You're going to sit on one hip with your knees and ankles stacked together, and then your other hand will just be on the floor, a little forward of your hip. Other arm reaches to the side. All right, now do the wrong thing for a second. Kind of slump your shoulder to your ear and stretch your ribs out. Now, to feel the difference, push the shoulder down and pull the ribs away from the ground. So this is where we want to be, so much more active and supported. So now keep that activity on the bottom side. You're going to watch this top arm, drop your elbow to the floor, and just find a side bend. Now by the time you find your side bend, look at your bottom hand, and then as you push back up, look over at your top hand. Yeah, so we're kind of slowing it down, finding a nice stretch for that top side of the body while working this bottom arm quite a bit. Yes, you can move your hand, your bottom arm, kind of adjust it till it feels like the placement is right, so you have enough room to set that forearm on the floor. So good. Let's do that 2 more times. As your elbow hits the ground, feel those ribs pull up to the ceiling, and you'll get a nice opening through that body. All right, 1 more time, you guys. Up and over. All right. Okay, advancing this side bend position a little bit. Take your top foot, turn it out, and place it on the floor in front of your bottom ankle. Arm out to the side. Now this time, don't bend the bottom arm. We're going to pick the hips up instead. Feel that same pathway through the head, finding the bottom hand with the eyes, and then lower back down. Yes, so if your legs and your feet start closer to you, you'll get a little bigger stretch and bigger position. Yes, if your feet are further from you, it'll be a little less intense. So you can gauge that however you need to. Let's do this 2 more times. Really press the hips forward, let the knee open. All right, 1 more time, up and across. All right, now if that was plenty difficult, stick with that. Or the next hardest level is we're going to take this bottom leg and extend it to straight. So you might need to move this other foot. You're going to straighten your bottom leg and kind of adjust till you feel like this top foot is really securely on the floor, and then the pinky side edge of that foot is down. All right, now even here, this is quite a stretch. You'll feel it on this bottom side. So let's give it a try. So you look over, we feel that nice stretch through the waist. Now we just post up on our bottom leg as is, twist and rotate, and then we lower back down. And if you try this one and it's like, nope, too crazy, then go back to the bent leg version. Yes, the nice thing about this position is this flat foot, that leg can really kick in and give us a lot of support as we go up and over. Yeah, our weight is placed kind of right over top of it, and then we come down. All right, you guys, 1 more time, and then we've got 1 final layer to add on. So now we're going to add a thread the needle of this arm and a rotation. The legs don't change. So here we go. We lift to our side bend, then we rotate and go upside down as if you were trying to touch your back foot. Unthread back to your side bend, and then sit your hip on the floor. So we side bend up 1, we go upside down and try to reach under to our back foot 2, back to our side bend 3, and then sit down 4. Good, couple more times. Drive the shoulder away from the ear. Remember how we felt the difference between the wrong way and the right way to start out? Yeah, keep that sensation of down and away with the shoulder. All right, you guys. Last time here, we're going to pause in that funky upside down position and do some little pulses from our low abdominals. Reach, try to keep the legs solid. 3, 2, 1, and then sit back to your mat. Ooh, very good. All right, let's do all that on the other side. So going way back to our first layer of knees and ankles together. Okay, hand forward and out, other arm reaching. So we lift the ribs up and then we set the elbow on the floor to stretch. Yes, so this we have the most support. We have the most parts of us on the ground. Yes, so we can focus in more on the stretch. up and over. Feel like you're pushing your top hip towards your feet, and you'll feel that opening through the top side waist. So good. And practicing this pathway of the head now. Yes, when the stakes are the lowest. That way it'll be there later. All right, you guys. Now, take your top foot, externally rotate it, and place it on the floor. Feet in for more stretch, feet out for less stretch. Here we go. You're going to post up on that bottom shin. Let the gaze go up and over, and then set yourself back down. Exhale to float and reach, and then inhale to lower. Very good. The hips lift and extend. That top knee presses back. Amazing. Let's do 2 more. Up and away. Should feel so good. Yes, and we were doing all those teasers, working the hip flexors. So really feel this opening up through that spot. Very good. All right, next we kick the bottom leg out to straight. Pull that top foot forward a little bit so we feel like we have a good grip on the floor. Arm out, kind of roll the bottom hip forward and you'll feel more stretchy underneath. Okay, here we go. We lift the hips, we watch the hand as we go up and over, and then we return. Yeah, so kind of a rainbowing action starting from one side to the other, and then lower down. Awesome. Make sure this front knee doesn't buckle down. Keep it pushing back and away. All right, let's do 1 more, and then we'll add that upside down rotation. Whew. Okay, here we go. So we go up, we thread under like we're trying to touch the back foot, and you'll feel that in those abdominals big time. Yes, but this is a little bit more support than some kind of side bend exercises because of this bent supporting leg. We get to really access the thigh. Whew, we have a good bit of help from the leg, so let's appreciate it. Let's do 2 more times. Up, feel your low abs, drive the arm under. Whew. All right, you guys, last one. Now hold that upside down position and pulse from deep in your core. Reach, strong bottom shoulder. 3, 2, 1, and then rest all the way down. Whew. Very nicely done. All right, roll the wrists a little. We're going to end with a little bit of work for our back and a little bit of a stretch, and then we'll be done. All right, so come down onto your stomach. Whew, I'm going to kind of counteract all that ab work we did and open up the front of the body. So go ahead and lay down, feet about hip width apart and turned out. Have your arms next to you, and then just look right at the floor. If you want to touch your nose or your forehead, go for it, or you can just kind of hover the tip of your nose off of the floor. All right, so totally relax your shoulders. So they're kind of rounded, arms are heavy on the floor. Now, as you breathe in, you're going to roll your shoulders back, palms face your sides, and you're going to lift your chest off the floor, and your gaze travels out to the end of your mat maybe, and then you're just going to reverse that. Exhale, relax your arms, and come back to that start position. So the roll of the shoulders starts it. Inhale. Your hands are almost like a measure. However far they slide is going to correlate to how much that back is lifting. And then we reverse and roll down. Good. Let's do that a couple more times. If you feel like you need the support of your hands on the floor, that is an option. Good. 2 more times. Roll back and down. Press the hips into the floor. Lift the kneecaps away. All right, you guys, last one. Circle, feel those shoulder blades driving down and in. Whew, and then come down. Very good. All right, we're going to get even more stretchy for the shoulders. Now interlace your fingers and then just rest the backs of your hands on your low back. Okay, now relax your elbows. Maybe they'll touch the floor, maybe not, but you should feel a little stretch at the back of the shoulder. Okay, now start from the same position. Roll the shoulders back just like we did. Keep your fist connected. Reach up and drive your knuckles back. So now we get this additional shoulder stretch. Bend the elbows and just set the elbows back on the floor. Do that again. We roll the shoulders back. Try to press the heels of your hands together. That's going to make it quite a stretch. If that's too intense, they don't have to touch. And then come down. Whew. Good. Let's do that 2 more times. Roll, press, and then like you've got a sponge in your hand, squeeze your hands together. And then roll down. Whew. All right, you guys, one last time. Shoulders back, press and squeeze. And then lower down. Good. All right, now take your arms out to a T. So we're going to get a little stretch for our chest, our hips, and our spine. Now, take one foot off of the floor, lift it up, and just try to tap it over on the opposite side of the ground, and then come back. And then do the other leg. Lift it up, go behind, tap the floor or the wall behind you, like me, and then down. Yeah, a couple more times. Up and across. And just play around with how bent your knee is, yeah, or where you're setting the foot. It'll change the stretch and how it feels. Yes, if your knee's more bent, you might feel a little more intense, kind of lower down your quad. Maybe if your leg's more open, you'll feel it higher up in your hip. Yeah, just kind of play around with that. All right. Okay, now tap one foot over and stay this time. Now, take your head to one side, away from that back hand, and place your ear on the floor. Now, take your other arm up to the ceiling and just let it fall back behind you. Good. Now, maybe your hand can wrap around your back. Maybe it can reach and try to grab your foot or your ankle, wherever it is. I don't think mine's going to touch. Yes, but just kind of hold this open position. And breathe wherever you're at. Think of opening your knee towards the ceiling. Very good. Replace the hand down, roll back to your stomach, and then let's do the other side. So take that other foot up and across. Good. Ear on the floor. One arm to the ceiling. Let the arm fall behind. Maybe cross it across your low back. Maybe try to grab your foot or your other hand. Just kind of play around with where you get the best stretch for that chest. You could even just let the arm reach up and back. All right, unwind yourself so you come back to your stomach. Push back till your hips are on your heels. Take one last short little shell stretch, breathing in and out. All right, and then bring yourself on up. And with that, we are all done. Thank you so much for joining me for today's mat class. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up below. If you have any feedback or requests for future videos, leave it in the comments. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn your notifications on and share this video with a friend. And I'll see you next time. Bye.